Later that evening, the two of us swiftly packed our things and discreetly began our departure from Edo. Looking good! Look at you! Was there a note from your bud to cut your hair as well? He looks very smart.
Chizuru, this way. Be careful not to make a sound.
Insert drooling noises here. Girl, I have missed Chizuru just like drooling at the worst times. At least now's not a bad time, but oh, it's so funny when she does this.
What's the matter?
Oh, nothing! In his new uniform, Iba looked rather dashing, and I couldn't help myself from blushing in his presence. A tasteful gold trim lined the seams of his coat, adding a gallant flair to his poised, regal demeanor.
Indeed.
Ah, Motoyama got new clothes too. Look at him, he's got a tie and everything. So cute.
Hey, you two. In case you've forgotten, I'm still here.
I know. I haven't forgotten.
Alright then, let's go. Time for us to take the fight back to them. Yes. Let's do it.
All of us held our breaths, nodding towards one another before sprinting out of Edo's castle town. We set off for Kazazanakuni in the Josei domain, casting our fates into the wind with heads held high. A region located to the east of Edo, currently it is known as the southern region of Chiba Prefecture. Okay, good. At the beginning, I thought it was just us and Iba, like, disappearing, but I'm glad we're still with our bud. And presumably our unit. And that was the end of chapter 1, eh? Okay. Cool. Promising beginnings, I will admit. Promising beginnings. I'll have to check where we are on the budding tree. Alright, come on. Take me to the warrior record. 30% after chapter 1. Not bad. April 1868. In the shrewd company of the Yugeki unit, Iba and I set off to head for Kazazanakuni in the Josei domain. Yugeki unit's leader was a youthful man who ascended its ranks by virtue of his strategic acumen and charisma. Though, I later discovered the unit's driving force was actually Iba himself, and its leader was a close friend of his who had gone by the name Katsutaro Hitomi. One of the other captains, aside from Hachiro Iba of the Yugeki unit, he served in the Battle of Toba-Fushimi. In Edo, a small resistance faction, the Shogi Company, formed to help topple the Satsuma Choshu, and were currently gathered in the city district of Ueno. Yugeki unit had decided to station themselves at a Sekisho in Hakone, situated in the Odawara domain, to await orders as tension steadily rose. We're getting all the encyclopedia references. Sekisho? A famous, well-fortified toll station that oversaw all of the transit through the Tokaido. Its close proximity to Edo made it the primary location for the strict monitoring of guests into the city. An Odawara domain. Also, I don't know if you can hear hubby. He's kind of screaming in the background. He's streaming. He must be very excited. Anyway. Odawara domain, a domain where Tokugawa's hereditary daimyo govern in Edo. The Hakone Sekisho, which observes traffic in Edo, is located here. Alright, the more you know.
Pardon the detour. I hadn't forgotten of your original intention for me to escort you to the area in which the Shinsengumi men are located. Unfortunately, we found ourselves sidetracked to a completely different location.
Please, don't worry about that. Iba had fallen for my ruse, which made his expression of guilt somewhat endearing, but all I truly wanted was for Iba not to regret missing out on fighting alongside the Yugeki unit. Is his arm out of his bandage? Or does he have a new wrapping? Or is that a glove? Can you lift your arm a little higher? Somewhere in the twinkle of his charming smile, I figured that he knew what I'd actually wanted. Okay, no, you still have the raptor glove. It's just, there's something else on your other hand. Okay.
As for your position here, I've communicated to the men that you are serving as my page.
Man, I'm never gonna get an upgrade from page.
When you're speaking to the other men, aside from Motoyama, of course, please be sure to play along.
Okay, understood.
You should have just called her your wife instead of your page, you know.
Again, with this facetious suggestion? What gives you the impression that I intend to open my personal life in front of the warriors?
But don't you think the sight of a famed warrior and his wife rising in action will inspire them?
Motoyama? As I said before, Iba and I are just friends. The two of us wouldn't work well together. I am just a girl from the city.
Huh? That can be easily fixed. All you would need is for Kondo to adopt you, and then it'd be fine.
Man, Motoyama's just like, I got solutions. You think you can throw roadblocks? I'm just gonna dynamite them. I'm getting you two together. I'm really glad we're getting more Motoyama. He's great.
Now that he has been distinguished as a daimyo, I couldn't imagine him denying your request.
Well, because of our familiar relationship, perhaps Kondo would have gone along with it, but it felt like a stretch. Well, either way, this joke needn't go further. My role is irrelevant since the battle is approaching soon.
But I wasn't joking. Oh well.
Keep trying. I believe in you. As the frenzy of war loomed, we still had no clue as to where Takeda or Father were hiding. A thought in the back of my mind convinced me that they would rear their ugly heads in the middle of a large-scale battle just to antagonize us. Given that the stage was being set, and so too its cast of players, I had to remain vigilant. I keep forgetting that Chizuru's already well aware of how evil her dad is by this point. Like, she went through the whole... My dad can't really be evil, but he's doing such terrible things, like, in the first part of this route already, so... I'm glad we don't have to do that again. We're just like, okay, I know Dad's gonna do something stupid and piss us off royally. So it's kind of nice. And so, Iba, Motoyama, and I boarded a steamboat, hoping to reach Hakone in time to regroup. Ooh. Sunset melted into the horizon above a sparkling sea.
Chizuru, there you are.
Oh, good evening, Iba. Are you feeling any motion sickness? I noticed some of the men are hunched over a pail having a horrible time.
In that regard, I am managing well. My sea legs are more than adequately prepared.
I see. That's good. For a moment, Iba and I stood in silence, taking in the sounds of tall waves crashing against the side of our boat, inviting a salty scent to tickle our nose. Sorry, I'm just... I don't know why. But, like, as I'm reading that sentence, I'm picturing Motoyama, like, behind one of these crates. If I can, like... Okay, calm down and stop laughing at my own joke, because I can actually explain to you what I'm laughing at. I'm picturing Motoyama behind one of these crates, and he just starts singing, "There you see her, sitting there across the way. She don't got a lot to say, but there's something about her." I can totally see him just like, kiss that girl. Just because they're on a boat. I'm sorry. I don't know why my mind went there, but I'm just... Maybe I expect too much from Motoyama. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Although there is no use in discussing it now, I wonder if I was right in coming here.
Iba bit his lip, thinning his eyes in the middle of his 1,000-yard stare. There was a conflict of interest between his natural sense of duty and the promise he had made to Sen, and perhaps he was worried she'd find out.
Have you corresponded with Sen since...
I lowered my head, shaking it silently. As I was leaving Edo, I wrote her a letter, but I have no idea if it'll reach her or not. Moreover, even if she had taken the time to reply, I had left without noting my departure from Edo, so receiving a response was unlikely. As always, there was a possibility that Kimigiku had been monitoring our movements very closely, but Yase village was going through a tumultuous period of its own, so perhaps they had no need to fuss themselves with our narrow-minded concerns. The chilly winds began to pick up, and I covered my arms with my hands absent-mindedly.
Feeling a little cold? Perhaps you should bundle up inside your room.
I told him, but I want to be out here with you. I had the initial impression that Eva wanted to contemplate his dilemma alone, but would it be alright for me to stay outside?
Of course you may, but why would you?
'Cause you're here, man.
Well, that was foolish of me to ask.
Right.
I imagine that you're staying outside because you enjoy our conversations, don't you?
His frank observation forced me to blush, and I was thankful of the darkness to hide the fact. Yes. But seeing as he had known exactly what I was thinking, I nodded in total honesty.
Well, come closer. We'll feel warmer if we bundle together.
Iba smiled kindly, and I followed his suggestion and sat beside him. In actuality, we shared no more words. Instead, we were entertained by the motions of the sea thrashing underneath us, and our vessel lulled us like a large cradle into a comforting stupor. Just then, Matamoto? Ah! Nothing as entertaining as that. Is it bloodlust time already?
Oh!
Iba? Iba grunted in pain, jolting our bodies upward. His left arm shook violently, prompting him to hastily clutch it with his right arm. The demon claw hand? Iba, are you okay? Is your arm hurting again? I attempted to reach my hand forward as a gesture of concern, and all of a sudden, his left hand jerked forward and constricted my hand. His grip wasn't gentle in the slightest, and he began squeezing tighter in desperation. Ouch! I yelped in pain, trying to bite my tongue.
No!
Then he forcefully swatted my hand away.
The other warriors cannot see me in this state.
Iba stood up quickly and brusquely stormed off towards his cabin. Iba, wait! I watched my breath turn to vapor as I rushed after him.
Stay outside! Be gone from me!
Be gone? What? I can't just leave you like that! All of the brunette color began to fade from Eva's hair.
Oh!
Was this bloodlust? I decided to. Eva, drink my blood. Yet again, he seemed repulsed by the thought, slumping his shoulders as he waved me away. Eva continued to grunt and cough, and I watched his back flex from the stress of the immense pain. So I'm taking it into my own hands again. I grabbed a hold of my Kadachi's hilt and unsheathed it before slicing along the side of my carotid artery. Ow! A dull pain preceded the warm, viscous trickle of blood. I gnashed my teeth, choosing not to show any signs of weakness as I glanced at Eva. If Takeda or my father come for me, and your mind's in no condition to fight, then we'd be in a hopeless position. I can't let that happen, so please.
I know.
Eva muttered without opening his gritted teeth, gradually slinking towards me in agony. His staggered breaths tickled the skin on my neck as he braced himself to slurp my blood. I was on the cusp of yelping out of reflex, but it's funny, this seems to be the most painful it's been for her. I guess it is, like, right on the neck, but I don't remember her being in that much pain with Toshi or Shun. Which means he must be kind of not that gentle with her. Doing so would only worsen Iba's remorse, which wasn't what he needed in this fragile state. So I bit the inside of my lip, tensing from the sharp pinch of Iba's eager sucking.
I never desire to harm you, nor drink your blood. I didn't become a fury for this.
All of the doubt and self-loathing came to light as Iba's trembly voice murmured into my ear, but I took solace knowing that his breathing was starting to calm, which I interpreted as a form of vindication. After Iba had his fill, he awkwardly stepped away from me in disgust.
Chizuru, would you mind leaving me be?
Huh? But
Please. I need some time for myself right now.
seeing Iba so distraught was a challenge, but I had to stop myself from doting upon him when he felt vulnerable, a seemingly impossible task. Okay. He plopped onto his futon and I saw myself out. He's such an edgy boy. After shutting the door of Iba's cabin behind me, I let out a heavy sigh, counting the stars shimmering in the reflection of the clear, dazzling sky above. I couldn't shake the image of Iba, bent over and struggling to draw breath. Was becoming a fury worth it to him? If he could have taken it all back, especially for my sake, would he have chosen to do so? As far as his bannermen were concerned, he was merely marching with the Yugeki unit. But in a time that push came to shove, knowing that his demon powers were off limits, would he let the moment pass him, or break his vow to Sen? What could I do for him? What can a girl do when she watches someone she cares about tear themselves apart? I think you're doing all you can, girl. It's gonna be tough. The Yugeki unit steamboat traveled safely through Edo Bay, sailing upon steady waters to reach the Odawara domain in good time. Odawara domain was ruled under the jurisdiction of the esteemed Okubo family, which came with a unique list of special protections, and a very nice new background screen. One of the shogunate's hereditary daimyo, its head domain, Odawara domain, is led by Tsuyoshi Okubo, one of the Takagawa clan's 16 divine generals that were bestowed most prominently as a result of an allegiance to the imperial army. However, upon arrival, Iba and the Yugeki unit engaged in persistent negotiations with the family to turn coat and ally with the shogunate forces. After days of deliberation,
Listen up, everyone. After shrewd negotiation, we have gained Lord Okubo's cooperation.
Hooray!
the whole Yugeki unit roared with delight, grinning ear to ear and hugging in celebration.
Our next objective is attacking the Imperial forces stationed at the Hakone Sekisho. Ready yourselves until the order to leave is given. Clear?
Yes, sir!
With a resounding affirmation, the Yugeki unit cheered, and suddenly all of them scrambled to get their armaments and armor prepared.
At last, our time to shine has arrived. I can't tell you how long I've waited for today. It is imperative that we do our part well so we do not burden the Shinsengumi and Denshu Company.
Agreed.
A look of despair suddenly appeared on Iba's face. Once again, he felt trapped by his moral obligations, split between wanting to fight with his comrades and not wishing to violate the demon code of law. This must have eaten at Iba, especially because of his unrelenting dedication to keeping his word. But, given how gracious and tough Iba's heart is, he never would have said so himself. Hello?
There you are, Captain!
Is something the matter?
One of our scouts has returned with a report, sir. But
The soldier shot a quick glance at us and moved in closely to whisper in Eva's ear discreetly. Eva stroked his chin as he listened, nodding his head as the soldier gave details of the scout's report, then...
Are you absolutely certain?
Yes, sir. I had a hard time believing it myself.
After the soldier lowered his head, Eva formed a grim frown with his lips and began barking angrily.
Change of plans, men! We're setting out immediately! We're marching to the Hakone Seki show!
I don't know if you just... I just heard PZ Outcast shout, yes! He's excited to go to the Hakone Seki show as well. Hakone Mountain's path was pebbly and narrow, and I was trying not to slip off the side of the ridge while walking alongside the Yugeki unit's vanguard. I tapped Iba's shoulder to speak into his ear. Iba, did something happen?
We've discovered that the Imperial Army is currently marching towards Edo. And at the helm of their march are warriors and bannermen of the Odawara domain.
What? Don't tell me! Only hours ago, it felt as though the Odawara domain was joining our fight against the Imperial Army. Was all of it a ploy to ensnare the Yugeki unit? I feared the worst, but I clung timidly onto the hope that this was some sort of huge misunderstanding. No. It was a sweltering afternoon, made harsher by the winding mountainous paths. We finally arrived at the Seki show, exhausted and sore, but...
I can't see anyone around. It must be...
Man, so many new backgrounds. It's pretty neat. We rushed to the kiosk, refraining from panicking as we hoped to find someone who would welcome us. But no Odawara soldiers were in sight, which was conspicuous considering how fortified the station was known for being.
They've taken all their weapons and ammunition along with them. I knew it!
How are we supposed to proceed? If the Odawara domain have in fact betrayed us, then both the Odawara and Imperial forces will have us surrounded, no?
Motoyama, how far back are the rest of the Yugeki unit?
They should be here any minute now, but now that you mention it, they're running a little behind.
In that case, I'm going to rally them. Chizuru, stay right behind me.
Oh, okay!